here recently. Coming up quite often, so we'll see what happens this time. We'll see if we can avoid a restart this time. And it is 5 o'clock, straight up 5 o'clock as we speak on the east coast of these United States. Coming up quite often. And we are on time and we've got good audio, so there you go. And we're going to irritate some of the viewers that don't like the full dress shirts. This is a Gitman Brothers shirt, and it's cut very full, lots of fabric. And so there's going to be some folks that like the really trim fit stuff that are going to say, whoa, that shirt's way too big, way too much fabric in that shirt. Oh, well, what can I say? We like comfort on this channel. And Stig's in the house. He says, good evening, Craig and everybody. Kevin says, morning to Stig. And let's see. Our Wags is in the house earlier. Could be another emergency broadcast, folks. Hi, Chip. By the way, speaking of emergencies, I listened to Joe Rogan's podcast with Peter Schiff. Of course, he's the gold bug that's predicting the end of the world and complete economic disaster and so on and so forth. So he was on. So if that's not enough to scare you, then today I was listening to his podcast, I don't know, from yesterday or today, a recent one. He's talking about UFOs. so those folks are going to come here and basically put dog collars on us and make us their pets, right? So yeah, we've either got economic ruin coming our way, or our new alien overlords are going to come take control. So, you know, pick your poison. And Stig's all over the place. He says hi to our Wags. Let's see. It's great. No masks. No masks here. Yeah, I'm not wearing a mask. Our Wag says, Stig, we are going backwards. More and more mask requirements coming from cities and retail stores beginning tomorrow. Yeah, it's unbelievable. The mass hysteria that has been created. And there's a lot of evidence, by the way, that masks do more harm than good. There's a lot of evidence that it actually helps spread the virus because people are wearing masks and they're touching their face more often and so on. And so it actually increases the spread. So typical government, you know, the solution is misguided and has unintended consequences, right? That is typical. We should not be surprised. Nobody should be surprised by any of that. Kyle's in the house. I think he skips the whole mask thing. And maybe we can get a report from Kyle and company as far as what's going on in his neck of the woods as far as masks and all that nonsense. Let's see. Cheetown's in the house, and he's all over the base. He says, hey, Craig, coming to you from San Diego. Maybe we can get a live report from Cheetown out of San Diego. That'd be cool. Mr. Q's in the house. I think he's going to give us a live report fairly soon. He's indicated that. And Stig's all over the place. I need a little extra room in my dress shorts, says Cheetown. I invite the UFOs to come down to Earth and straighten us humans out. There you go. Well, he was talking about maybe the UFOs are what created us in the first place, that they came down and meddled with the primates and meddled with their DNA or whatever and created us. So go figure. Mr. Q's in the house. I refuse to be a mask hole. David's in the house. He says, hi, Craig and all. And how are things in Vegas? What's going on in Vegas? 2009 swine flu, 60 million cases, no masks, no shutdown. That didn't happen during an election year, did it? It was 2008 was the election year, right? What was the election year? I keep losing track of those things. It's every 4 years. So I think it was 2008. Yeah, so that probably wouldn't have been a election year. So yeah, that's a whole different thing. All right, so we're going to talk about the stunner, the 002 stunner. And I'll tell you, somebody asked me about the 002 stunner. And I said, you know, what's really interesting about this watch is it allows you to wear a very elegant dress watch, but that is extremely reliable and extremely durable. By all accounts, this manual wind spring drive movement is very durable and, of course, extremely accurate and, of course, very low maintenance. So it's kind of like, you know, most dress watches are a little bit on the fragile side, and you got to kind of baby them a little bit, and maybe not super accurate, and maybe not super durable, and maybe expensive to service, and, you know, they have some issues, right? Maybe not real practical to wear, not real comfortable to wear. Maybe they don't have a deployant clasp. Some do, right? But this one, they seem to have gotten it all right. They seem to have gotten everything right as far as it's a stunner appearance-wise, extremely comfortable on wrist, very practical, easy to use, 3-day power reserve, very easy to wind up, very easy to set the time because there's no date to mess with. Of course, I haven't set the time going on 3 months here because we're doing an accuracy test, but it seems like they just kind of got everything right with the 002 stunner, that there really is no reason for a gentleman to not have an absolute stunner on wrist, an absolute dress watch stunner on wrist. There's really no legitimate. Look at it. Look at the light playing off those indices. Are you kidding me? That's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. I mean, I'm sorry, but no Patek could ever look like that. No Patek could ever look like that. And of course, it couldn't match the durability and accuracy, even if it could. So there you go. So let's see. Not great in Nevada. What's happening? Do tell. Do tell. Are people dropping like flies? Report from San Diego. The downtown historical gas lamp quarter was pretty empty, and many streets closed off to traffic to make room for outdoor dining. Okay. Well, outdoor dining is a good thing. Let's see here. Lounging in the front yard as we speak. Riding the ultraviolet rays. Okay, all right. So let me pull up a couple more pictures here real quick of the... before that, we'll revisit this lovely photo of the lovely Brianna, briefitdance.com, briefitdance.com, wearing a beautiful cashmere sweater. Cashmere sweater. She was wearing that and a hat and nothing else. That's always a good thing. Okay, so let me pull this up. 002. I'm going to pull up the 002 stunner. And I've got an album here. I've got a photo album. And we'll just show a few photos here. Just a few photos of the 002 stunner. Look at that snowflake dial. That's freaking amazing. There's the deployant clasp. There it is with the money clip. Another shot with the money clip. Demonstrating how it goes with other gold accessories, the ring and the pin. That was, of course, the day that I picked it up. Stunner alert on the channel. Look at that case. Look at the shape of that case. Look at the beautiful brushing on the side. That's on Steve's wrist, that photo. Look at it catching the light. Looking pretty stunning on the Stevester's wrist. Maybe he should wear the other 002. I think that's enough for now. I think you guys are going to get spoiled. Okay. Let's see. No, just government incompetence and overreach, says David Williams. Okay. Kevin, I'm just fine. Okay. Let's see. Glad to see Georgia Governor Kemp declare all mask ordinances as unenforceable. Okay, that's good. David Williams is Las Vegas still enjoying the Goodman legacy. Okay. David says, having said that, seeing an increase here partially due to tourism in the casinos. Increase in what, though? Everybody keeps talking about cases. You know, the important thing is how many people are dying. If the people are getting it and recovering, that's a good thing. That's getting us closer to herd immunity, right? More people that get it and get over it, that's a good thing. I don't understand why that's not a good thing, but anyway. The last death count I saw was around 900 and something for the entire country. 900 like yesterday, 900 and something the day before. We're just under 1,000. Seems like we're kind of hanging at that number, which obviously that's a lot of people, but I think 8,000 people die every day. That's the normal death rate. 8,000 people die, even if we didn't have the virus, right? So if 1,000 of them are dying of the virus, I mean, it's possible that that same number of people would have died anyway for other reasons, right? It's possible that our death rate hasn't even really increased. We won't know until, you know, the whole year is up, and then you could compare. My guess is the death rate's probably going to be down because there are probably going to be less accidental deaths, you know, car accidents, things like that, because everybody's staying at home watching Netflix. But unfortunately, this is the thing that I think that the proponents of the lockdowns and all don't seem to understand and don't seem to get, and I don't understand why they don't get it, is that's not sustainable. It's not sustainable to just have people stay at home and watch TV. I mean, that's not really how this country was built, right? It's not really sustainable. I was listening to a podcast with Ted Cruz. The Verdict is the name of the podcast. It's a pretty cool podcast. And he was talking about how he's enjoyed staying home with his two young daughters, for these couple of months, and how they can have lunch and dinner together and how great it is and so on and so forth. Well, I mean, it's okay for him. He's getting his full salary, right? It's not exactly great for other people that actually have to work for a living and have to earn a paycheck, right? This is not exactly a good scenario. So there's that. Let's see. The lovely Bree's in the house. Oh, she released a really cool video, by the way, doing a slip and slide. So you might want to check that out on her YouTube channel. David Williams is Las Vegas still enjoying. Okay, I already read that one. Quite popular at the moment. Okay, so hospitalizations are up. Okay. Well, the other thing is, you know, they've gotten better at treating this thing, so more people are recovering even once they end up in the hospital, so that's good. Deaths are back to pre-COVID levels. We should be celebrating, not doing more lockdowns. There you go. Good point. Craig sent an email, old Rolex ad from 1986. We'll take a look. Florida is trying to stop the panic porn. And the lovely Bree says hi to everybody. David Williams, that's good, Mr. Q. And Stig says hello to Lady Brianna. And politicians are about as removed from reality as celebrities. There, you got that right. All right, let's check the email. Bree, are you getting your exercising in today? Do tell what you're doing in the way of exercise today. Give these guys some motivation. Tell us in the chat what you're doing in the way of exercise. Here's that old Rolex ad. 2 years to pay no interest. Interesting. Let's see if we can read some prices on here. Can we read? Zoom in a little bit here. Here we go. 18 karat gold Rolex is $88.50. $88.50 for a day date. 18 karat gold and stainless is $26.75. The Submariner is $13.25 for Submariner date. And the GMT2 is $1,350. So there you go. We take a trip down memory lane. You see what... see, here's the thing also, by the way. This is something I would like to point out. I was talking to the lovely Masha yesterday, and the first time I visited her in Moscow, I gave her a gold eagle, a 1 ounce gold coin. I thought it was an appropriate gift. And at that time, it was about, I think this was like 2002, I think it was about $350 an ounce for gold, something like that. And now it's $1,800, right? So people say, well, yeah, the gold has gone up, right? No, the gold's the same. The dollar has gone down. That's the way this works. The Rolexes are pretty much the same. Yeah, they've improved them some, and relatively speaking, maybe the price has gone up some. But really, the main reason why there's the price difference is the dollar is worth a lot less money. And when you're buying real things that take people time to make, not commodity items. Some commodity items have legitimately come down in price, like big screen TVs and so on, right? But things that actually take people time to make and are real things, we've seen the erosion of the value of the dollar over the years. It's been relatively significant. So there you go. Politicians are about, okay, we read that one. I'm spending this day getting sun. My arms are so pale that I could correct the white balance on your camera. Be careful, don't get too much too fast. Arm curls, 25 reps, 2 sets. So she's doing arm curls, 25 reps, 2 sets. 2 sets is not enough, Bree. You have to be doing at least 4 sets. You've got to increase that to at least 4 sets. Okay? 4 sets. And nice solid form. Nice solid form. Walking and cardio. Okay, good. And I want you to do some sprints also. I want you to do some sprints. That's good for building up your lungs, which is very important with this thing that's going around, right? That you have very strong lungs. And singing is also good for building up those lungs. Mr. Q's in the house. David, people are pushing back on the media only repeating number of cases 8 times a day. Mind programming. Craig, yeah, the last thing the media wants to do is bring forth any good news. That's the last thing the media wants to do is bring forth any good news. Let's look at a few more photos of the stunner. That's the subject of today's broadcast is the stunner, the gold stunner. The gold stunner. How come these photos are not loading in properly? See, that's not loaded in properly. I tell you, I think, see, it's sharp now. I think Flickr's having issues, okay? I have to tell you, I think they're having issues. There's when I shot my first video of the stunner at Steve's place at Little Treasury. Little Treasury. There it is with the plastic still on it. Somebody said, oh, yeah, I don't think you didn't actually buy that watch. You know, you didn't show any videos of you at the store with it. You didn't show anything from the store. I said, what the hell are you talking about? I published photos right away. I did a video. I did an unboxing video. I've done all kinds of videos. What the heck are you talking about? I did a live stream with Steve from the freaking store the day I went and I picked it up. These people, I don't understand what's going on with these people. Let me know in the chat. What's going on with these people? Do these people, some of them have a few screws loose? Is that what's going on? Let's get a close-up on the stunner. Bree, what do you think? Let me know what you think about the stunner. You've got a lot of style and a lot of class. You know what beauty is when you see it. Let me know what you think if you're still hanging around. I don't know if you're still hanging around or not. Let's see. Mr. Q says, David, people are pushing back on the media, only repeating number. Okay, yeah, I read that. Let's see. Mr. Q, people turning it out here as well. Craig, how many push-ups can you do in a single set to the point of failure? Well, I mean, yeah, if I really wanted to push myself and risk injury, I could probably do 100, 150. I mean, definitely 100. I used to do 3 sets of 100. And then I backed down. I thought that I was starting to have some problems with my lower back, and I thought maybe that was it. And because I read some things that they said push-ups could cause some problems. And so I backed down in the number that I was doing. And for a while, for a month or two, I stopped doing them entirely. And then I did some more research, and I came to the conclusion that if I'm very careful and keep my form correct, that I can do them without causing problems. And then I worked myself up to about 50 to 60 repetitions each set, and I usually do at least 4 sets. And so that's what I'm doing currently, is 50 to 60. But I could definitely push through and do more than that. But I could be risking, if you push through and you do too many, maybe then your form, you arch your back more and you don't hold the correct form, and then maybe that could be problematic for somebody getting up there in the years. I'm not a spring chicken anymore. So there you go. Let's see. Kyle's in the house. I don't know what to think about California anymore. Things are changing daily here. Okay. There surely is a lot of hate in the watch community, and many folks do not like GS in particular. Stig in the house. Absolutely, I hear you. Mr. Q, can a watch on a steel bracelet be called a dress watch, not dressy? Yeah, some Patek Philippe models are available on a bracelet that are pretty much a dress watch. I would not call a Day-Date a dress watch. I would call it an all-arounder that can be used for dress purposes. I wouldn't call it a straight-up dress watch. To me, it's a little bit thick at about 12 mils to a little more than 12 mils to be a straight-up dress watch, but it can absolutely be used for that. I would call it more of an all-arounder. For me, a dress watch has to be a little trimmer, like this one's about 10 mils thick. I think that's about ideal for a dress watch. And I prefer a dress watch really to have a strap. Now that I've gotten to where I really like the deployant clasp and I really like the strap, I think that's a good, I think it just looks a little classier, a little dressier than, like, for example, wearing a Day-Date. But obviously a Day-Date is the ideal all-around solution. If you want to wear just one watch all the time, you can definitely do that with a Day-Date. It's almost the only watch that I can say that about. It's hard for me to think of any other watch that I could make that statement, that you could actually wear as an all-arounder all the time, do everything watch. Let me know in the chat if you think there's another watch that meets that use case, because I don't think there is. And you can make the argument for the gold Datejust, like the one Brett has. You could make the argument that could do it too, and I think that would be legit. I think that would be a legit argument. Maybe even do they make an all gold Oyster Perpetual anymore? I don't think they even offer those anymore. See, I don't think like a gold GMT or a gold sub, I don't classify that as a great all-arounder. I still classify that as more a sport watch. Even though it's gold, I would classify that more as a sport watch. Let's see. Fella in the house. Craig, I walk 10 miles a day every day for my health. Good. Very good. I'm not hitting 10 miles anymore, but usually anywhere from 4 to 8 is usually what I'm hitting most days. Kyle's in the house just when but I do walk, up and down hills and, through different undulations of ground. So that's good. It's better than just walking on the flat, right? Let's see here. Just when they open the massage parlors, they close them again. Oh, jeez. Tim's in the house. The reason people pretend not to behave, the reason people pretend not to believe it's a genuine gold GS watch is probably jealousy, I suppose. That's possible. And let's see. Cheetown says, Stig, they hate GS because they aren't getting the validation from people they don't like. That's a good point. Okay. Let's see if we got some more photos of the Stunner here. Some more photos of the Stunner. That was one of the first photos I took when I got back from Steve's place. There's wearing a Burberry trench coat. Not trench coat, a Burberry fly front coat. 100% cotton. See how much room there is in those sleeves? See how much room? So there's plenty of room for your suit jacket and everything. That's the way clothing is supposed to be, folks. Notice how it's got plenty of room. See that? There's these were taken at Little Treasury. That's a nice shot. That watch looks pretty stunning there. There it is on Steve's wrist. There's the with the faux pay bracelet. That looks really classy. That looks really classy. I would get the faux pay bracelet and yellow gold. That's kind of it's a rose gold, but it's not a lot of rose to it. It kind of works. It's really hard to get the color of the gold right, get the white balance right on some of these photos, unfortunately. Let's see here. Kyle, it is similar to Melbourne. Just when they began opening things, another outbreak and restrictions brought back. From Wednesday, mandatory to wear masks or $200 fine. It's unbelievable. See, this is the problem, is you give government an inch, they take a mile. This is the way it always happens. Remember, they promised us in the beginning it was just 2 weeks. Just 2 weeks. We're gonna shut things down for 2 weeks. Just give us enough time to flatten the curve and to increase the capacity of our hospitals, to get some more ventilators, to, 2 weeks. Just give us 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks turned into another 2 weeks. And then another 2 weeks turned into, well, maybe till another month, right? Now here we are several months in and no end in sight. This is the way government operates, folks. This is the way when you give up your freedoms, this is the way it happens. It happens a little bit at a time. And then all of a sudden you turn around and all your freedom is gone. All your freedom is gone. And all these people that say, we want the government to protect us. We want the government to tell us to wear masks. We want the government to enforce all this stuff. Go to a socialist country where the government tells you all these things, where the government controls everything. If you want socialism, go there. There are socialist countries. Why do they want to change this one into that? There's already some that exist. Go there where they're totalitarian and they just tell you everything to do. And they take care of you from cradle to grave. It's called socialism. Go there. What's wrong with that? Anyway, I digress. Okay, let me I got an email here. Let's pull this up. And this is from Kyle. Okay. Okay, so it's a 6-digit day date, mint condition 2001. Okay, so it's going to have the original type clasp. It's not going to have the modern clasp, because those came out in about 2004. But look, it's a smooth bezel. That's extremely rare. See the clasp? It has the old style clasp like the 18238 has, which worked fine for me. I don't have any problem with those clasps. But it does mean that it is worth less money. And I have to say, the smooth bezel is interesting. It really is. But it is going to show every scratch, right? That's the beauty of the fluted, is it doesn't show any scratches. I would have to lowball these folks. I would have to come in at around 13 max. Max. That's assuming that it is what it seems to be. That's assuming that they can come up with all paperwork and everything. I mean, that's just a lot of money, in my opinion. Where the heck is it? Cape Town Diamond? Is it in Cape Town, South Africa? Is that where this puppy is? Bracelet markers, features. Okay, includes large Rolex box, booklets, hang tag, complete with Cape. It's not saying that it's got the original bill of sale stuff, paperwork, but it might. Yeah, I mean, that's not, obviously that's a lot of money, right? A lot of money. Okay. So let's see. At Kyle, are you out in Venice Beach? Yes, Cheetown, still here in Venice. Okay. Mr. Q, people don't understand classic layering basics prior to Primaloft. I still practice wool, cashmere, and down. Okay. At Kyle, are they doing street closures to make room for outdoor dining there? Let's see. Alfredo says, agree 100%. My family comes from Cuba. There you go. Kyle's in the house. Yes, that began a week or so ago. At least we can eat in restaurants, I suppose. How about in San Diego? San Diego shut down several blocks of gas lamp quarter to make space. You know that area. Let's see. We have to wear a mask to enter a restaurant, but we take it off to eat anyway. Not sure what the point is. Kyle. Well, here's the problem, is the latest data is showing that the lockdowns and or the mask, it's very questionable as to whether or not any of those efforts helped slow the spread at all. You know, they've compared places that didn't shut down to places that did. There's no real difference. They compare places where a lot of people wore masks to places where people didn't wear masks. No real difference. This thing spreads the way it's going to spread, and none of these things seem to have any effect on it. So, you know, it's just been a total fail, total government fiasco to have all these lockdowns and all these masks and everything. It's been totally ludicrous. So there's that. Tim's in the house. Craig, yesterday I had the police knock on my door to make sure I was in quarantine. What? No. Oh my gosh. That's unbelievable. That is unbelievable. Kyle says, Lance, I sent an email because you weren't here. Stig's in the house. Tim, what is more dangerous to me is hatefulness and resentment that is spreading around in society faster than corona. These folks should get themselves a decent job. Well, there doesn't seem to be a work ethic anymore. These people don't seem to think that they have to work for a living. They seem to think that they can just take the money from other people in the form of taxes or just straight up theft. There's some nasty, nasty people. Nasty, nasty people around. That's what we're running into. That's what we're running into. So, yeah. I'll tell you, though, it's best, folks, that you look at this watch in person. I know they're hard to find. They're extremely rare. But Steve does have one in stock. And if you get a chance, I would highly recommend you take a look in person at the Stunner, at the 002 Stunner. That's the best way to do that. And Walt says, good afternoon, Chi-Town. I wouldn't wear that day-date out in Cape Town. You walk out in the street and you'd be murdered in 5 seconds for that watch. Whoa. Really? That's not good. Kyle's in the house. It was a smooth bezel, 6-digit day-date, sort of interesting. Oh, I agree. Definitely interesting. Definitely interesting. Craig, I had a nightmare that Biden won. He very well might win. It depends on if the freeloaders show up to vote. See, that's the thing that hurts the Democrats a lot of times. Is a lot of times these freeloaders that that want everything for free and all, they're too lazy to get up and go to the polls and actually do the voting. But now if they're able to mail out a whole bunch of ballots and have those ballots come back and act like all these people voted, then they might be able to get around that problem. The problem of these people actually having to vote. If they can figure out a way to make it look like they voted and have a bunch of, quote, mail-in ballots that represent their votes, then they might be able to solve that problem. Let's see. And Lance says it, Kyle, very cool. How much was it? Okay, let's show it again. Since Lance wasn't here, let's show that day-date. Let's show the day-date. Here's the day-date in question. That's the only picture that's really decent. These others look phony. So there you go. Okay. From my readings, it's no worse than the flu, certainly no deadlier. I think that for people that are older, like 75 years of age and up, that particularly that have pre-existing conditions, I think it's pretty bad news for them. But I think for most everybody else, yeah, it's no worse than the flu. I think that's pretty much the way this whole thing works out. Let's see. Kyle in the house, 16K. That was the price on the date. If COVID is so serious, how come Ginsburg and Biden are still with us? Good point. Good point. Sent an email. Okay. Lance. I'm being a little overly dramatic, but South Africa is notorious for violent crime. Professional soccer players in the UK are being robbed for their Rolexes and APs and Richard Milles, though. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You got to be careful. Got to be careful. Let's do a time check here on the channel. Got to be careful. You got to have security. You really do. When you go out amongst the peons, you have to have, it's probably not politically correct to say that. You have to have security when you go out and mix with the peons. Okay, there we go. That's an interesting looking piece. A very interesting looking piece. Again, I don't think I would buy an automatic Grand Seiko just because I would rather have the spring drive. But this is a limited edition piece. Interesting piece. That's a lot of money. A lot of money. That makes that 005 right there to the right, that makes that look like a steel. Like a steel. Yeah. Okay. And Carlos says, hello from the Mediterranean Sea, currently sailing from Sicily to Malta. Sounds like a tough life, Carlos. Sounds like a tough life. Let's see. And when Dole ran in 96, people said he was far too old for the job. Here in 2020, people want to elect a man that has one foot in the grave. Come on, people. Joe Biden, laughable. There you go. He won't be running things anyway, though. I think it'll be the radicals. Cortez and all those radicals. I think they'll be the ones running the show. We'll be headed towards full-blown socialism is where we'll be headed. So there you go, folks. We'll stop. Okay, Carlos is talking about where he's going. He'll be at Valletta tomorrow afternoon. Okay. Excuse me. And let's see. Carlos says hello to Kyle and Mr. Q. Carlos, I want to ride, I guess you meant the vintage Malta buses, but it looks like they've been decommissioned and replaced with Chinese buses. Oh, okay. Carlos says at Stig, I have not been in Malta before. I will report about it. Okay. We're going to have a full report coming from Carlos. All right, we're going to close out this other watch. I'm going to close out some tabs here from previous shows. And there's those belts from Yoder leather that we talked about. I'll tell you what, I think those ones from Reef leather are probably the way to go, depending on what the shipping costs are and so forth. Those ones we showed from Reef leather, R-E-E-F leather. There's that wild GS piece that we looked at the other day. Wild piece. Just closing out some tabs here. And this was that scam watch that we looked at the other day that apparently was plated with gold. Oh boy. It's always something on the channel. Always something going on the channel, folks. All right. So let's get another picture. One more picture of the stunner up here. Find one that's nice. See if I can find one that's halfway decent. I should go through and delete these ones where the white balance wasn't right. That one's not bad. That one's not bad, showing the side profile and the signed crown and the deployant clasp. White balance isn't right on that. That one's not terrible. Oh well. Yep. You're going to have to look at it in person. That's the only way to really get the real impact of that watch is in person. Let's see here. Kyle says you're right, Craig. It makes no difference either way. The same folks control both sides. Yep. That's why we're buying Bitcoin. Hopefully that's our insurance policy. We'll see how that works out. Tim's in the house. I'll tell you what, I'd rather have the Bitcoin insurance policy than have no insurance policy, right? Got some Bitcoin, got some gold, got some insurance just in case all you know what breaks loose. We could have runaway inflation. We really could at some point. It could really get bad. Tim's in the house. I think it's worse than the flu and deadly for old people in the sense that for younger people, symptoms remain for 10 days instead of 3 to 4 days for the flu. Also, there's persistent coughing. For some young people just get like a little bit of a runny nose and it's gone. As a matter of fact, I think the majority just get mild symptoms and then it's gone. So, yeah. I was never one that got the flu either. So I'm not really concerned about any of this stuff because I kind of take care of myself, So hopefully this has served as a wake-up call that people will start eating right, exercising, getting plenty of rest, doing the things they should have been doing their whole life. Maybe people will start taking their health and fitness a little more seriously. Maybe that'll be a benefit of this whole thing. That would be interesting. But I doubt it. They seem to still be lining up at McDonald's to get the junk food. It doesn't seem to be. Business hasn't seemed to slow down for the junk food. The purveyors of junk food. Let's see. If Fidel Biden wins, the Republic will be in complete peril, says Mr. Q. Derek says, we haven't looked at any day dates. Yes, we did. Where have you been? We absolutely looked at a stunning day date, and we talked about day dates earlier. You got to pay a little bit better attention, Derek. Carlos is in the house at Chi. That happened in Panama too. We had really fun, decorated buses. Not that they've been replaced by regular. Okay, Mr. Q. Joe Biden makes me both cough and sneeze. T-Town. Craig, what do you think of the idea of having high-speed trains for the East Coast like Japan has? I like train travel. I traveled by train some in Russia. I prefer train travel over airplane travel. Hopefully they keep the restrictions low on what you can take on and all that sort of thing, right? So yeah, I would much prefer traveling by train. Now, I don't think the government should pay for it. I think it should be private industry that does it. If it's viable, they'll do it, right? Let's see, Alfred. Craig, can you briefly comment on your transition toward the Grand Seiko brand? I recall from your much earlier videos that you were a Rolex man among other brands you favored. Yes, and I did a video about this. I basically wore Rolexes for 40 years. I wore, most of the time, I had a rotation between a day date. I had like 3 or 4 different day dates over the years. So I had a rotation between a day date and a sport watch, a Rolex sport watch. And for a while, it was a red sub. And then it was a GMT Master. And then I had a GMT 2. But for a few years, I had a Omega Speedmaster 120 in rotation with the day date. So I always had a steel sport watch, if you will, in rotation with the day date. And that worked great for me for many years. I bought the Shogun, the SBDC007, the Seiko Shogun. It was titanium. And I really enjoyed that watch. And then I found out about the titanium diver, that 231 diver on the left there. I found out about that diver through Arizona Fine Time. They had a video like six or 7 years ago or whatever about that watch. And that kind of planted a seed. And then when I found out that Steve was selling Grand Seikos at Little Treasury, I made a little road trip over there. It's only about an hour and 15, 20 minutes from here. And I was so impressed with that diver that I made him a cash offer, and he accepted, and I bought that watch, and that was my first Grand Seiko, and I just loved it. I just loved it pretty much from the start. And the accuracy really, really impressed me. I like a watch to be accurate because I do time things and I do use it. Like I have to call into a radio show at a particular time. They say, okay, call in at 10:34 a.m., after the bottom of the hour break. And so when I look at my watch, I want it to be accurate, okay? And so I really was impressed with the accuracy of that watch. And the more I learned about and studied Grand Seiko, the more impressed I got. And then I ended up selling my day date. I had a 18238 day date that was about 20 years old that I'd bought new. I sold that. And then I bought a gold Grand Seiko that was quartz that I bought out of Japan. That was, I paid $3,400 for it or something, but it was only 35 mil watch, 35 and a half mils. So it was a little bit small on my wrist. And so I had that for a while. Then a subscriber just had to have it, so they bought it from me. And so then I got the 005, that one on the right there. I got that 005 to kind of wear in dress circumstances where I needed something to slip underneath the cuff because it's nice and trim, and it's only 38 and a half mils. So it's a good size for wearing as an all-arounder, if you will. So I got that. But then I kind of had a hole in my whole watch situation. I didn't have a gold stunner anymore. I'd always had a gold stunner. I didn't have a gold stunner. And so then Grand Seiko came out with this 002, this SBGY002 gold stunner in 2018. They came out with this, and I had an eye on that. And I told Steve, I said, can you get one of those in stock? I'd like to take a look at it. I'm really interested. Can you get it in stock? And it took him a while to finally get it in stock. He finally did. And when I went and I looked at it, I was like, oh my God, that thing is stunning. Of course, I didn't say that because I wanted to make an offer. I wanted to get a good price, right? So I acted like I was kind of interested and, was trying to negotiate, right? Then we struck a deal. And then after we struck the deal, I gave him the money, and I had the watch. That's when I told him that it was absolutely amazing, absolutely stunning, that it was the best-looking dress watch I'd ever seen, right? So, because, no sense keeping it a secret any longer, right, once I had the watch. So there you go. So that's kind of the story. And it's a major step up from Rolex to these watches. These watches are at a whole nother level. It's just not even a close call. And this watch is at a whole nother level as far as any dress watch, as far as any Lange, any Patek Philippe, Vacheron, any of them. None of them even come close to the quality and the usefulness and the comfort on wrist and just the stunning appearance of this 002. It just is a whole nother level over and above any other dress watches. So, and of course, I always like to have the best of everything, and so that's why I'm wearing this watch on wrist. That's how it works. All right, Lamont's in the house. Okay, okay. And Carlos is talking about taking the Zephyr train. Absolutely, that would be cool. I thought smoking was bad for you. Okay, they're going on back and forth. Lamont is imported or made in USA. Let's see. Weird. Stream went dead. No, it's okay here. It's showing live here. Let me know in the chat if we're live. I think we're live. Let's see here. Craig, I sent another email. Okay. Okay, let me go to the email. And we're coming up on an hour, folks. Just like that. Just like that. An hour goes by. Okay, we've actually got two. We've got one from Kyle and one from Lance. We'll take a look at the Kyle one first. Yeah, and this is the 9F diver. This we've seen before. This is a very interesting piece. Very, very interesting piece. And Wonder what size it is. It's actually in Japan. Let's see what's case size 4.3 centimeters, so it's 43 millimeters then. 1.2 centimeters. So 12 millimeters. So it's a little bit thinner. It's a little bit thinner because it's quartz, right? So, but you know, it seems to be a lot of money. That seems to be a pretty healthy price, but it's thinner. That is a plus. So, yeah, and it's the old dial with Seiko at the top, right? Grand Seiko at the bottom. So that would be a knock in my opinion. I think that's a lot of money. Let's see. Okay, let's look at the. Let's look at the next email. Oh, excuse me. Oh. Okay. Whoa, this looks good. This looks good. Lance is pulling out some stunners. That looks pretty good. Crown is a little bit small for my liking, but it's an automatic wind watch, so you're not going to be winding it that often, so that would probably be okay. It says it's anti-magnetic, Oris. That is cool. I wonder if Steve ever gets any gold Orises. That is kind of cool. I gotta say, I'd have to see some more pictures, but I have to say that's kind of cool. I like the little touch of red with the date in red. I like it. Lance, you're doing better. You're doing better, Lance. Your batting average is increasing. And Kyle sent in a belt. Is that the one you wanted us to look at? That's okay. I would rather have a brass buckle instead of the chrome color. And I think that there are some other options out there, but yeah, that's a good looking piece. It's not a bad looking piece. I wonder if it's available with brass. And the problem is there aren't enough images for us to tell if, for example, it's easy to replace the buckle, if it has snaps to replace the buckle or not. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know enough about that to really say what's going on there. Okay. And we looked at that the other day, too, I think. All right. All right, let's see what else we got going on here. And Mr. Q says, I had an oil change on my car yesterday. I paid extra for CBD oil change. B, driving on the highway soon. Paid extra for CBD oil change. I'm not sure what that is. I always run, I try to run Mobile One, full synthetic in my car, and that seems to work out. Let's see, 43 millimeters. Yes, I don't fancy the Seiko Grand Seikos. I agree. The dial looks much better post 2017. I don't see a date on the stream. Well, you have to go back and look. We certainly showed it and talked about it. Nice Oris. Okay, there you go, Tim. I love trains. The best one that I took so far was from Cusco to Machu Picchu. Okay, amazing views. I guess it would be. Also, the one in Alaska from Ketchikan to Yukon. Okay, there you go. Tunnel Pass in my SLK 55 AMG. If anyone likes the naturally aspirated AMGs, I always prefer something without turbos if I have my choice. I think turbos put undue stress on an engine. Now, the turbo diesels, that's a little bit more acceptable to me, but I even liked some of the non-turbo, the diesels that were not turbocharged. The Mercedes, I think they held up better in some cases than the turbo diesels. So maybe that's even better even in that case, to just skip the whole turbo thing whenever possible. Let's see. Craig doesn't get stoner jokes, probably not. Megan's in the house. There you go. She gets it. She's hip. And Tim's in the house. Carlos, have you ever been to Japan? Great train travel there. There you go. Well, sometimes if you're traveling too fast, though, you can't see all the cool stuff. Sometimes traveling fast is not an advantage. Triforce Rich is in the house, late to the party. Yeah, we're about ready to wrap up. We know that because Megan's here. Let's see, 2006 Kyle, 10K miles, original owner. Okay. I love slow transports. There you go. That's the way to do it. Craig, what are your opinion on Oris watches? I like that one we just looked at. I think some of them are pretty cool. I think some of the Orises are pretty cool. Just love that ultra smooth sweep on the Grand Seiko spring drive. It's the best in the business. I agree. It's amazing. Kyle's in the house. That's cool. Stock is the only way to go. Let's see. Rich in the house late. Tim, not been in Japan and Asia. I've only been the Asian part of Turkey. I hate long plane flights, but I assume I'll go someday. Okay. I've noticed a real stoner should have made. Okay. All of my turbo Mercedes have had problems at one point or another. One even needed turbo replacement. Older engines are definitely more reliable. There you go. You should send in a pic. Okay, Craig, what's your opinion of the Volvo V7? I would pass on any Volvos. I sold them new back in the day. This is many years ago. They just give a lot of trouble. I would just kind of stay away from Volvos or Saabs or, just about anything other than a Toyota is going to give trouble. I hate to break the news to you guys. Just buy a Toyota product, either a Toyota or a Lexus, and call it a day. What's your email? It's my name, CraigShipp@gmail.com, CraigShipp@gmail.com. Carlos put it in the chat. And I'm going to wrap this puppy up, folks, so Japan is nice, worth the trip. Okay, I'm going to show the lovely Brianna's website. And somebody complained that I was showing brieffitdance.com and the pictures are cut off. Well, you go to her website, you can see the whole pictures, okay? You can see the whole pictures, brieffitdance.com, and I'll scroll it up so that I'm just trying to have it so you can see the brieffitdance.com, but I'll scroll it up so you can see more of the picture if you want. But if you go there, you can see everything. You can get the links to her social media. You can find out how to support her on Patreon. You can do all of those things if you go to brieffitdance.com. brieffitdance.com. Kevin says no puppy wrapping. Sorry, we got to do it. We got to do it. I'm getting hungry, and so that's what we're going to do. We're going to wrap this puppy up, and wow, that's a pretty risque, Bree. That's a pretty risque photo there, but I'll tell you what, the young lady's put together. You got to give her that. You got to give her that. The lovely Bree, and she works at it too. She works at it. She works at her fitness. So Megan says, Craig, is the show over already? Megan, we've been going for an hour, for gosh sakes. We've been going for an hour. Let me scroll this back up so you can see brieffitdance.com. There you go. brieffitdance.com. That's her website. All right. On that note, we're going to wrap it up, and we'll see you guys again. That's what we'll do. We'll see you guys again sometime soon. Thanks for watching. Oh, and do click subscribe and click the bell so that you'll get a notification so that you'll be here on time next time. Craig, so you think, and Bree's dad Do you think you and Bree's dad would get along? I don't know. Maybe. Let's see. Megan, please call in. Kevin, Craig, please, Craig. Cheetown says, Carlos, you might want to retract. You might want to what? Oh, something's retracted. Yeah, see, that's how you could have extended the show. Is somebody could have called in, right? If you guys were smart, somebody would have called in, and then we could extend the show. But no, I guess nobody was smart enough to do that, right? So maybe next time. All right, so the lovely Bree, BreeFitDance.com, BreeFitDance.com, and click subscribe and all of that good stuff. Thanks for watching.